My friend, tell me, do you ever look forward to arguing with your partner or being in a conversation where somebody is trying to sell you something you don't want? Do you? Probably not. Why? Because you know what to expect. The person is gonna try to push you one way or another to make decisions you probably don't want to, and you'll end up in a losing position, right? Even if you are able to stand your ground, even if they don't end up convincing you, right? You know that you're gonna waste your precious time, your precious energy, and you're gonna probably at the very least be exhausted. Right? It's exhausting, isn't it? When someone is trying to convince you of something, and then you end up, any which way, you end up feeling like you're giving up something, right? Feeling like you lost. That's why influence often ends up getting a bad rap, because we feel like we're gonna lose something. That's why we see it as negative, right? But when we can use influence in a positive way, it can really transform our personal relationships, be it with your partner, be it with your kids, be it with your family, in your work, with your friends. It allows you to make a greater impact with both people you love, and in doing the things that really matter to you, that are really part of you, ingrained in your values and your way of life. Now, I realized this in my own work with Simplify Cancer. By the way, if you don't know me, my name is Joe Bakmotsky. I am the founder of Power to Be Happy. I'm a proud author of this book, Finding Hope in Times of Uncertainty, a guide to thriving in a challenging world of today. And I'm also the host of the Simplify Cancer podcast. I want to talk to cancer survivors and experts around cancer and wellness around cancer to get advice and support and motivation how to lead a great life beyond cancer. And when I started, I only started this podcast just kind of to get answers myself, because I went through cancer. It's been my experience, and I was trying to figure out, like, how does life work? Like, how does life fit in? So I started a podcast to really understand how I can cope with things better. So I had to reach out to people who are either patient advocates or experts in the fields of oncology or psycho-oncology. Psycho-oncology is kind of psychology around cancer. And so I had to approach people who were busy, who were experts in their field, and I was coming from nowhere. I was just this guy, right, who started the podcast, right? So I wanted somehow to get them to come on my show. And I realized that by trying to make myself, I've tried a lot of things, and I realized that by trying to make myself sound important, or it doesn't feel authentic, it doesn't feel right. And that's when I stumbled upon this idea of finding a winning position for everyone, right? If I can create conditions for the right, for everyone to win, like the guests are going to come, not only going to come, but they're going to enjoy it, they're going to see it for what it is. So instead of presenting myself as the guy with an impressive website or whatever, right? Trying to myself sound like, I'm big and whatever. Instead, I went into this process describing, I praised them for the work that they were doing, which I genuinely believed in because I've done my research and I could genuinely talk about that. I talked about the opportunity to make an impact. So I was just specifically describing what we're going to talk about and how that can help people in a powerful way. And I was incredibly grateful and respectful of their time. So I really set out the conditions. I said it's only gonna take this amount of time. I can send you questions in advance. It's gonna be quick and easy, right? So I set up the conditions where I felt I was winning, right? Because I would be getting a great guest. I set up conditions where my audience would be getting a real, an awesome expert or a great person who's been through a personal experience with cancer. And also I set up the conditions for the third party, which is the person coming onto the show feeling like it was the right thing for them. They were happy to do it. Maybe they were excited to do it. At least it made sense for them, right? And that really is the best way to influence. That becomes what I call positive influence, which is so much more powerful because you're not trying to convince anyone. You're just compelling them by simply explaining these conditions. Right, so I'll give you an example. It's something that I do, let's say, with my son. He needs to do his homework, right? And, perhaps unsurprisingly, he's not that excited about doing homework, right? It isn't something that he looks forward to in his day. So I can just kind of try to force him and say, you must do this. That's one way of doing it. But what I believe works a lot better is when I position it as something that is a win for him, right? I ask him to pick a time when it would suit him, like which day of the week he would try to get most of it done. Also put in another condition, said once you get this done, we'll also just sit together and read comics together, which we love doing, right? And also you won't have to worry about homework for another few days, right? Because you'll be done with it, right? So it sounds as a win to him, but it's also a win for me, right? Because I don't have to argue with him and kind of force him to do things. I myself enjoy reading comics with him, so it's a win for me, and I don't have to chase him up in order to get things done. So it becomes a winning position for both of us. And I do believe that, yes, it requires a little bit of planning. It requires us to think ahead. But that just becomes so much more frictionless, right? Because you're in it and you're creating conditions for everyone to win. I believe that is the best way to influence, because like I said, you're not convincing anyone, you're simply explaining the conditions and how it's all gonna play out. That's all. You're simply explaining, so you don't have to feel awkward or weird about doing it, because you genuinely believe that it's gonna be good for you and it's gonna be good for everyone. So I think that's a huge win. And I think that we gain that influence with others. We gain their trust. We gain their respect. When we do this kind of positive influence, we can connect on a deeper personal level. How good is that, right? That's hugely important. And also we are able to do a greater influence with ourselves, because you do influence yourself as well, don't you? I think we do that, right? We do that with ourselves. That's part of leadership. Not only to be able to, in a position to lead others, but to lead yourself. To set the right expectations for yourself. To feel like you are winning by knowing what's in it for you. You're setting up conditions for yourself to win. Right? This is what something I talked a lot with my coaching clients. Talking about how can you set up these conditions in different parts of your life to win, so that you feel more confident, so you feel more calm, so that you feel more in control, so that you feel you're making a greater impact in a way that is consistent with you and your way of life. Ultimately, so you have clarity about what is going on around you, where you want to go, and how to get there. And by the way, if you want to find out more about my coaching program and whether you can work with me one-on-one, you have to apply to work with me as part of my coaching program, which is Clarity First. If you want to find out more about it and how it can help you to break through in your life right now, go and check out powertobehappy.com. That's powertobehappy.com. Click on the Clarity First link to find out more. My friend, thank you so much for being here. My name is Joe Bakhmutsky, and I'm just here to remind you that you, my friend, you have this incredible power to be happy, to seek greater clarity in everything that you do in life, to show up at your best every single day so that you feel you're enough to do whatever it is that you want to do, and to hold on to hope that no matter what happens out there, and it's crazy sometimes, isn't it? Life sometimes is all over the place, and yet no matter what happens, things can and do change for the better. Thank you for being here, my friend. Look after yourself.